Let's go!
MVCIB has consumed my life, thank you. That's all I wanted. The average player count of MVCI has been higher the past month than the game was ever since January of 2018. The entire populace of that game was gone back in January, like 3 months after it came out. The fact that you can go in and actually get ranked matches, the fact that it still works if you go on during a peak time, that it still can work if you're in the right rank with the right people, that's crazy. It was wild to me that we had people coming out and saying, aren't you worried about the existing player base? And I'm like, and that's a conversation I need to have tonight, chat. People having to enter the FGC. The talk that, hey, I don't like the newer fighting game. I like older fighting game. Doesn't apply to me because we can't just go in and play ranked games in our older fighting game, right? I can't just go play ranked games. I want to just fire up ranked and have as much access to populace as possible, which is like what current fighting games are. Yeah, I get you. No, I completely understand. But here's the thing, like, people have been doing that shit, dude. And there are resources to go do that shit. If you are, for example, someone that just wants the convenience of a fighting game and having ranked, if not player matches available to you at all times, then I understand you, that you want that convenience. But to say that like, oh, I want to play an older game because this new game sucks, I don't want to put the commitment of entering the FGC to find matches, then you have to do that. Like, fighting games die straight up, where you're not going to have casual matches available anymore. You have to go find the Discord. You have to go find where people are playing that game. And if you truly like that game, you'll go play it. Those are the communities that I have been elevating, or doing my best to elevate, for the past like 7 years on this channel. I try to let people know, hey, you guys remember Soul Calibur 6? This game was dead, right? Look at these dudes. Check this shit out. You guys remember Virtua Fighter, right? Check out how sick this game is. This is why they're playing this game. You guys remember Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3? Check out Tong and Tap and Never Sleeps. They love this shit so much. There's like 30 people playing. Who gives a shit? They don't care. They found a way. They love their game. So they went back and they started playing it, and they found a way to play it, even though online sucks ass. They didn't care. They found ways to do it. You have to enter the FGC. Like, that's the difference, is that there are so many tools and resources available now, emulation and otherwise, between so many games, that the difference is that you now have to put in effort. If you truly love your game, you'll have to go out of your way to find people. You'll have to go out of your way to build that community to keep that game alive, if you truly love it. Or do you just want the convenience? Do you just want the convenience of being able to, like, it blows my mind that people are only used to the convenience of what is effectively an active fighting game. Of like, oh, you know, I just want to click button and get matches. I see folks that are like, man, I wanted to play like DOA 5 on the Xbox 360. So I fired it up and I can't find matches. And it's like, well, dude, like, you have to figure out where people are playing that game. You have to figure out how people are playing that game. Maybe it's on a different platform. If you truly love that game, you might have to go get that platform, get that version of the game, and just do it, dude. Sam Show was practically unavailable to be played online for the longest period of time, you know? Classic Sam Show, if not Sam Show 2019. All I'll say is that, like, I specifically went out of my way to hold tournaments and events for not mainstream popular fighting games. The whole point of me holding those like MKX Lives and Marvel Lives and KL Lives tournaments, if not MVC2, like the whole point of MVC2 is that, yeah, how many people playing MVC2? Is there like thousands of people playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 at any point? It's like, no, dude. But it's like a healthy community of like 50 to 100 people across the world that are constantly engaging and like trying to become the best with each other. And they have their tight-knit ass community. I want to put them on the center stage. I want to make sure people see who they are, because in my personal take in this entire thing, it is the glowing fucking definition of what an FGC is. What you can consider like the FGC is just people that like fighting games or like Evo, or sure, like you're absolutely right. But when it comes down to like my personal introspection and what I feel a fighting game community is, it is old dead games that do not have the modern glitz and glam or updates from developers or any of that shit anymore, but people just love that shit, and they have built a community around it, and they have found people to play that game with each other, and now they're just like friends. And now they just join in their weeklies that have like 10 to 30 people. That would be effectively mocked by anybody else in any other popular game that's out there right now. But to me, it's like, oh, no. I deeply respect those guys. I deeply respect the people that are playing that shit weekly, if not whatever, because there's nothing in it for them. Guess what they're doing it for? They're not doing it for the paycheck, dude. They're not doing it for front page. They're doing it because they love the goddamn game. So it's the game that sold them on it, not some esports thing or the fact that it's like specifically the big thing. That's to me, the FGC, straight up. And that is very separate than the modern like esportsification. I can only play the game that is popular or has ranked matches or has like a pro tour. I mean, I understand that mentality, but I have to let you know that that is a new thing. A game that has that kind of support and is that way, it's kind of a newer thing. For like the 20 plus years that came before that, you just continued to play fighting games because you like them, because that was just your game and you gelled with it and you loved it and you just continued to play it, and everyone else around you continued to play it. And they continue to play it because they liked it too. Not because, oh, we're dropping this game because other game better. Like, I get it. A lot of people dropped like games like MVCI, and they had adamant things, bad things to say about it. But I personally knew that there's a shit ton of people that really liked that game. Marvel players especially, people of the older Marvel generation from like the 90s really liked that shit. So to me, that's who I was like making the mod for, because I was one of them. I'm like, I dig this shit, man. And I feel like this can have an impact if it looks different, which is why I knew that MVCI could like hit if we made it not look like shit. All I'm saying is that yes, in the previous video I was talking about with like fighting games and how you should just go play your old game. Yeah, I get you. Your old game might be really hard to find matches. You're not going to be able to go fire up Soul Calibur, like Tekken Tag 2 or Soul Calibur 4 or Street Fighter 4, you know? You're not going to be able to just easily pick that shit up and find people. And if you do find somebody, you're going to get some guy that's just going to waste you, right? But to be completely honest, like, well, that's just the way it is. That's the nature of fighting games. They will all kick the bucket unless they're one of like the big few at the start. Every single fighting game kicks the fucking bucket at a certain point, usually within the first year of its life, and then you just make the choice, hey, do we stick with this because we love it and just keep playing it? There's nothing in it except that we like it. There are resources to do that, but you just have to go out of your way. I don't know which one every single one is, but I guarantee you can find like a DNF duel community for a game that's like recent and maybe still has some people that are still playing it in some way. You can still find a community, obviously, for like games of the past 10 years, Persona, like BB Tag, like all that kind of shit. Freaking Killer Instinct, especially. Dude, KI1. I am subscribed to a channel that has online SNES KI1 tournaments, and their videos get thousands of views a week. It's like in Spanish as well. And I'm like, dude, holy shit. And these guys are playing, because the best competitive version of KI is actually KI1 SNES, apparently. And they're playing that shit. And it's like, God damn, this is cool, dude. This is fucking awesome. Those historically are the kinds of communities that I will pedestal. I just think it's so awesome. Because I know 100% these channels, much less though the fandoms behind those games, are playing those games just because they love them, man. They're playing them just because they're into it, and they've just enjoyed it, and that clicked with them, and newer games maybe didn't, so they just played their game. They just did their shit. And it's the glowing definition of what an FGC actually is. And I think a lot of other people have conflicting opinions about like what fighting games are. Just know that that kind of stuff is the sort of shit that I'll always pedestal over like modern Tekken drama between players, or who's the best Street Fighter Japan, or there's plenty of that shit, dude. There's so much of that I'd prefer to focus on the stuff that I'm really passionate about, and it's usually like underdog old dead games. And I can't help it. I like them too.